Hey everybody, I'm John and this is Blind Whiskey Reviews. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today here on Blind Whiskey Reviews, the most honest reviews on YouTube. Today we'll be reviewing the Grander 8-year-old rum. So I'm very excited to do this one for you. If you haven't already, don't forget, hit that subscribe button down below so you know every time I put out a new review and every time I'm doing live streams. I'm going to be trying to do a few more of those coming up here in the near future, so if you want to know when I'm doing them, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm very happy to be doing this one for you. I want to talk a little bit about Grander because I had the opportunity to talk to Dan DeHart, who is the owner of Grander Rum. He gave me a little bit of insight on their products and how they came up with them. He's a very cool guy, and he was actually kind enough to send me this bottle to review on the channel. So I'm very excited to do this one for you, and I want to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk more about Grander at the end of the video. I want to talk a little bit about that, though, and just let you guys know that I have reached out to a few distilleries to that I think are interesting and doing cool things in whiskey and rum. And the reason I did that is I want to try to help the channel out, so I'm not having to buy every bottle that we come up for review here. But also, I wanted to reach out to people who are doing interesting and cool things, and maybe some stuff that I can't get locally, but is more available in other parts of the country or the world. So I do want to do those reviews for you guys. I will tell you, I want to be transparent on this channel, as I say at the very beginning. This is the most honest review channel on YouTube, and I want to keep it that way. So if I'm getting stuff for free, even though it kind of doesn't matter because as I'm doing the review, I don't know what it is yet, but I do want to let you guys know at some point in the video that this sample was provided by a distillery or whoever sent it to me, so that way you guys know, just full disclosure. But anyways, I'm real excited to bring this one to you guys. A big thank you to Grander Rum and Dan for sending the bottle, and let's get straight into the review. All right, everybody, let's get into the whiskey. First, we got the color. This is a very light golden color. I wouldn't say light, but it's definitely golden. If this is bourbon, it's definitely light. I'm thinking maybe it's not. Well, let's get to the nose. I'm gonna say, I'll give it one more sniff before I say it. Yeah, this definitely isn't bourbon. I think this is rum, although very light for rum. You got that standard like rum character with the molasses, the brown sugar, vanilla. I'd say the aroma's a little on the lighter side, and I would imagining that it's because this is probably a lower proof rum. You know, as I've mentioned in a couple of my other rum reviews, that most rum you find on the shelves is bottled at 80 proof, which really bothers me. So that is always kind of irksome because I think a lot of these rums would do so much better at a few proof higher. But let's get down to what this is. Smells good. Let's get into the taste. Cheers. Definitely tastes like rum. Smooth on the palate. Not a ton right up front on the tip of your tongue. A little bit of a burn over the middle of the tongue. Flavor really picks up in the middle of your mouth. As we get to the back, flavors linger a bit. They kind of round out a touch. Nothing super punchy on the back. On the back, you're definitely left with that. And I wish I really knew how to describe this, but you're definitely left with that rum-like character. You know, that dark molassesy, the deep fruits, that kind of lingers on the palate. Not much of a burn going down. Like as I said, this is definitely a lower proof rum. I don't want to say that it's necessarily 80 proof because the burn on the palate feels a little bit more than that, but let's give it another taste or two here. Yeah, definitely picking up a lot of vanilla on the nose. Got almost a touch of like a burnt sugar quality, so I'm assuming that's kind of like the molasses burnt sugar. Yeah, I like this. It's good. It's smooth, it's flavorful. Like I said, I feel like this is maybe above 80 proof. So I think that's kind of helping it out quite a bit. And if it is, I'm gonna be really excited because, like I said, there's so many rums just they throw it in at 80 proof for whatever reason, because rum isn't really, for most people, a sipping spirit. They throw it as a mixer. And so I'm hoping some of these rum distilleries are kind of moving like Foursquare is into rum is a great spirit and it does deserve to, be bottled at the appropriate proof and something that's going to make it shine and stand out, not just as a mixer. And this thing has a ton of great flavor. It has a little bit higher proof, I think, than 80. I mean, I feel like we're in like the 85 to 90 range. And based on the color, I'm going to say that this is a rum that they're not adding color to. So if you'll also notice a lot of rums are really dark and really sweet. It's because a lot of rum distilleries, and they're allowed to, add coloring after the fact, and they add sugar or sweetener to it after the fact. So you're left with this really sweet, cloying kind of rum or character in your mouth. And I don't particularly like that. I don't like things that are overly sweet. And this one is a great balance of what seems to be the natural sweetness in the rum, but not added sweetness. It kind of goes like along how the bourbon. Like bourbon is sweet, but they're not allowed to add sweetener to it, so it's just naturally sweet. So it kind of reminds me of that. So let me get one more taste. I don't really know if I want to add water to it, but we'll do that anyways. Yeah. Let's add a few drops of water. For proof, I'm going to stick to saying it's maybe 85. There's one drop. Something's wrong with my little straw here. Alright, give it a quick swirl. Yeah, I'm going to stick to saying it's probably about 85 proof maybe. Feels a little higher than 80. And for rum, anything over 80 is a good thing in my opinion. Didn't change much on the nose. Didn't change much on the palate. Takes well to water. Maybe added a touch, the very slightest touch more fruitiness to it. But just to go back over, yeah, we got lots of dark fruits, lots of sugar character, molasses, burnt sugar. I wouldn't really say there's like a brown sugar character in there. Definitely flavorful, definitely smooth. People hate that word, as I've mentioned before, but I don't care. I like it as a descriptor. It doesn't have any harsh, bitey edges to it. The burn on it is relatively smooth over the palate, so I would imagine this has some semblance of age on it. And I don't know, age is a weird thing with rum as well, which maybe at some point we can dig into a little bit more and talk about. But I'm going to give this as a rating. I really like it. Again, I'm not an expert on rum, so take this as you will. I've only reviewed 2 other rums on the channel. And so I'm kind of feeling out my rating process for rum because I just don't have a lot to compare it to. But I'm going to say, for me, this is really good. And I'm going to give it, for a rum, I liked it. I'm going to give it an 87. I think it's really good. So let's find out what it is. This is Grander Panama Rum. Awesome. Well, at least we got the rum part right. Anyways, let me go grab that bottle and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, we just finished our review of the Grander 8-year-old rum. This is a Panamanian rum that is bottled at 45% alcohol by volume. What did I say? 85 proof? That was close. 90 proof. It's bourbon barrel aged, so this is aged in all ex-bourbon barrels, and there is no additives, which I talked a little bit about actually while I was doing the review because of the color. I mean, you can really tell this rum is significantly different in color than almost all the rums you find on the shelf at the store. And I don't know if you can see this on camera, but it's really, really light. And I don't know if that's in part because they're using used barrels, so that's not going to impart as much color to the spirit. But I think another big part of it is they're not using additives. They're not adding sugar. They're not adding flavor. They're not adding coloring to it to make it look darker. A lot of different rum distilleries add these things to their rum to try to make it look older and have more bold flavors when they bottle it at 80 proof. And I mentioned this several times in the review, but I can't stand that they do that, because there are so many spirits in the rums that would do so much better if they were just a little bit higher in proof, like this is, and it showed through. This rum is significantly better tasting. Obviously, the sourcing of it has something to do with it, but I think it had a lot to do with the fact that it's bottled at 90 proof. It gave it that little bit more flavor punch, a little bit more boldness, but it was all natural. It wasn't overly sweet and cloying and so deep and dark, and like I've tasted other rums where it's like they just have these unnatural tasting flavors. And not that to say that they're bad, like those things may taste good, but it's almost like they're geared for cocktails. They make rum not for sipping neat, but a lot of these distilleries make rum to adding to a drink. And hey, there's a time and a place for that, of course. But for me and people that want to sip on it neat, those don't taste great necessarily. Those bold flavors maybe mix really well in a cocktail, but when you drink it neat, it's just overly sweet and cloying and you don't like it. So I really like that companies like Grander are doing things like putting out a rum with no additives, putting out a rum with an age statement, putting out a rum at a elevated proof. Those are cool things. And that's one of the reasons I reached out to Grander in the first place. I've been reaching out to a few distilleries that I think are doing cool and unique things, and Grander, while they're not a distillery, is a company that's putting out some cool product and something that's a little bit different than what you normally find on the shelf. And Dan, who is the owner of Grander, is a very cool guy. And I had a nice long conversation with him. We got to talk a little bit about his products and why he's doing what he's doing. And so it's very cool. And if you get a chance, check out their website. They've got a very cool website, and they disclose everything about where the rum is sourced, the proofs, the mash bills, the this, the that. Anything you want to know about this rum is pretty much on the website. So if you like rum and you're interested in looking at this, check their website out. It's actually very cool. Other than that, I would love to know what you guys think about rum. You know, are you like me where you're looking for a rum that doesn't have the additives, or are there rums out there that do have these additives and sugar added that you do really like? I would love to explore those too, because I don't want to rule anything out on this channel. I want to try everything. So I would love to know what rums are out there that you like. What do you look for in a rum? And if you have any suggestions, let me know. I'm happy to go pick up some other rums to review on the channel. So in terms of value, as I mentioned before, they were kind enough to send me this sample of the bottle, and if you don't know, this bottle, if you can't really tell in the video, I don't know, very cool bottle. Super slick, very unique. I really like it. They also have a 12-year-old rum, and they have a very, very small selection of single barrels they've put out. In talking to Dan, he said they do like a store pick program essentially, where a store will buy a barrel of their single barrel rum product. And so I haven't been able to try that. He was kind enough to send me a barrel proof sample of one of their single barrels, so I'm very much looking forward to trying that. In terms of value, this goes for $29 at the big box stores, so I think that's a great value. Anything with an age statement, with all these cool things they're doing with no additives, and putting out a product like this, I think is awesome. So if you like rum and you want to try a new one, if you can find this, go get it. I would definitely recommend it. It's a great value. It's very good rum. And I really want to support people that are doing things like this. So if you get a chance, go out and try it. If you've already tried it, let me know down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. As always, if you want to follow me on Instagram and maybe Twitter, you can get me at blind_reviews. If you want to send me an email, it's blindwhiskeyreviews, that's whiskey with an E, @gmail.com. And until next time, cheers.